job interview is one of the most anxiety-provoking situations most people can find themselves in, even when they go to plan. But what happens when you have your worst interview ever? Our guests share their worst interviews ever in the hope that you will take something from their mistakes to have a more successful interview outcome. Some of the stories are horrific and some are just downright embarrassing. Let's join our host, Kevin O'Reilly, the interview skills coach with over 25 years experience in the fields of coaching and recruitment. Let's welcome our guests to the show.
If you're into your social media and you attended the Croke Park conference in 2024, you will have heard and seen our next guest. She was a guest speaker there. Today we have on the show Niamh Cushnahan, a videographer from purpledot.co.uk. With over 10 years of video production experience, Niamh's videos and content have been seen across the UK and Ireland. She has also been a finalist in 3 separate social media categories in the past 3 years. So she is up and coming and ready to take on the world. If you're into your social media and you attended the Croke Park conference in 2024, you will have heard and seen our next guest. She was a guest speaker there. Today we have on the show Niamh Cushnahan, a videographer from purpledot.co.uk. With over 10 years of video production experience, Niamh's videos and content have been seen across the UK and Ireland. She has also been a finalist in 3 separate social media categories in the past 3 years. So she is up and coming and ready to take on the world. Niamh, you're very, very welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
It is absolutely my pleasure. Off camera, we have been talking, and the experiences you have had in the past and currently have are going to be so enlightening to the audience because you have a breadth of experience and knowledge, not just in job interviews, but in interviews in general, as a speaker and a workshop host and many other social media activities that you do. So Niamh, where do we find you today?
So today I am based in County Tyrone. I was based in Dungannon, but I live further out the road from Dungannon now. But I would say most of my clients are based all over the country. I could be in Ballymena one day and then the next day I could be back in Belfast or in Dublin. So I feel like I'm not really based anywhere. I'm just everywhere.
Well, I suppose as a social media expert, it's good to be based everywhere.
Yeah, and I feel like I am quite fortunate, being in the center of Northern Ireland, that I'm quite accessible. I can get to, every place that I'm going to. It's a great location to be. But I do find that I'm a videographer mainly, but I feel like 80% of this year I've been doing mentoring and workshops. So I feel like I'm being pulled in that direction now more often.
Yeah, and that's the one to many, as in workshops. It's not just usually the one-to-one as you may have done in the past. You're doing now rooms of people. And what's some of the stuff that you're doing within those workshops?
So they are mobile movie making. I set up mobile movie making workshop in 2016. But obviously when I first set up the workshop, videos looked a lot different back then. So the type of videos that I do now is, well, a lot of it is to do with camera confidence as well. I think a lot of it is just getting people to have the confidence to be in front of the camera. And then it's also the confidence to film and edit. And I feel like just giving people that little bit of encouragement can really make them look different in front of the camera and feel more confident. But I feel like in my workshops, most people at the beginning come from the mindset of there's no way I can ever do this. And then by the end, they're always excited and can't wait to get stuck in. And I tell them, to practice on their family videos first. But it is something I want to make fun.
And how do you do that, Niamh? How do you make it fun?
So, well, honestly, it's all down to the tone. I feel like the tone you use is so important. I deliberately use a tone that is simple. I never use technical terms. I don't want to scare people. I always want to make it feel easy, fun. I always use a tone that's like, you can do this. It's so easy. And it's funny because I did talk about this in my last workshop, and people were saying, but is it easy, or are you just convincing us it's easy just by the tone I'm using? But it is. I want it to feel fun and easy. And I think by me setting that tone from the get-go, from the first sentence,
Mhm.
you can see people relaxing, and it's so fun for me. It's so fulfilling for me because I go into corporate businesses. Like I was working with the government in Dublin a lot last year, and you go into the most corporate places, you've men in suits, and they just turn into like children, and they're having so much fun filming. So I just love to see it.
I had a very similar experience. You're talking about the men and women in suits, just sort of crumbling into different pieces. I attended I facilitated and hosted a laughter class a few weeks
Hmm.
back, and it was the most awkward, weird, out of body experience I've had in a long, long, long time. But after it, I felt so light. I felt so light.
Hmm.
You know that belly laugh that afterwards you feel like you need to lie down
Yes.
because it was so good. Well,
Yes.
that was happening for about 60 minutes. And it
Hmm.
wasn't even that we were laughing, we weren't really laughing at ourselves, we were laughing at others who were laughing at us.
Hmm.
And it was honestly the weirdest thing. I would definitely recommend anybody try it at least once. Laughter
Hmm.
yoga or laughter therapy, it's called. But it's absolutely fantastic. And it sounds like you give your clients and your audience a little bit of that. It's almost an allowance for them to relax. And some people need to be told that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I'm very present before I do workshops. Like if I'm going to a workshop and I'm tired, or I'm, not energized myself, I will make sure that I do not step through their door until I have got myself, to a higher place of energy. And I always make sure I'm being other centered. Have to get out
Mhm.
of my own head. I have to be other centered.
If you're into your social media and you attended the Croke Park conference in 2024, you will have heard and seen our next guest. She was a guest speaker there. Today we have on the show Niamh Cushnahan, a videographer from purpledot.co.uk. With over 10 years of video production experience, Niamh's videos and content have been seen across the UK and Ireland. She has also been a finalist in 3 separate social media categories. If you're into your social media and you attended the Croke Park conference in 2024, you will have heard and seen our next guest. She was a guest speaker there. Today we have on the show Niamh Cushnahan, a videographer from purpledot.co.uk. With over 10 years of video production experience, Niamh's videos and content have been seen across the UK and Ireland. She has also been a finalist in 3 separate social media categories in the past 3 years. So she is up and coming and ready to take on the world. Niamh, you're very, very welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
It is absolutely my pleasure. Off camera, we have been talking and the experiences you have had in the past. If you're into your social media and you attended the Croke Park conference in 2024, you will have heard and seen our next guest. She was a guest speaker there. Today we have on the show Niamh Cushnahan, a videographer from purpledot.co.uk. With over 10 years of video production experience, Niamh's videos and content have been seen across the UK and Ireland. She has also been a finalist in 3 separate social media categories in the past 3 years. So she is up and coming and ready to take on the world. Niamh, you're very, very welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
It is absolutely my pleasure. Off camera, we have been talking and the experiences you have had in the past and currently have are going to be so enlightening to the audience, because you have a breadth of experience and knowledge, not just in job interviews, but in interviews in general, as a speaker and a workshop host and many other social media activities that you do. So Niamh, do you want where do we find you today?
So today I am based in County Tyrone. I was based in Dungannon, but I live further out the road from Dungannon now. But I would say most of my clients are based all over the country. I could be in Ballymena one.
If you're into your social media and you attended the Croke Park conference in 2024, you will have heard and seen our next guest. She was a guest speaker there. Today we have on the show Niamh Cushnahan, a videographer from purpledot.co.uk. With over 10 years of video production experience, Niamh's videos and content have been seen across the UK and Ireland. She has also been a finalist in 3 separate social media categories in the past 3 years. So she is up and coming and ready to take on the world. Niamh, you're very, very welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
It is absolutely my pleasure. Off camera, we have been talking, and the experiences you have had in the past and currently have are going to be so enlightening to the audience because you have a breadth of experience and knowledge, not just in job interviews, but in interviews in general, as a speaker and a workshop host and many other social media activities that you do. So Niamh, do you want where do we find you today?
So today I am based in County Tyrone. I was based in Dungannon, but I live further out the road from Dungannon now. But I would say most of my clients are based all over the country. I could be in Ballymena one day, and then the next day I could be back in Belfast or in Dublin. So I feel like I'm not really based anywhere. I'm just everywhere.
Well, I suppose as a social media expert, it's good to be based everywhere.
Yeah, and I feel like I am quite fortunate, being in the center of Northern Ireland that I'm quite accessible. I can get to, every place that I'm going to. It's a great location to be. But I do find that I'm a videographer mainly,
Hmm.
but I feel like 80% of this year I've been doing mentoring and workshops. So I feel like I'm being pulled in that direction now more often.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the one to many, as in workshops. It's not just usually the one to one as you may have done in the past. You're doing now rooms of people, and what's some of the stuff that you're doing within those workshops?
So they are mobile movie making. I set up mobile movie making workshop in 2016. But obviously when I first set up the workshop, videos looked a lot different back then. So the type of videos that I do now is, well, a lot of it is to do with camera confidence as well. I think a lot of it is just getting people to have the confidence to be in front of the camera. And then it's also the confidence to film and edit. And I feel like just giving people that little bit of encouragement can really make them look different in front of the camera and feel more confident. But I feel like in my workshops, most people at the beginning come from the mindset of there's no way I can ever do this. And then by the end, they're always excited and can't wait to get stuck in. And I tell them, to practice on their family videos first.
Mm.
Um, but it is something I want to make fun.
And how do you do that, Neve? How do you make it fun?
So, well, honestly, it's all down to the tone. I feel like the tone you use is so important. I deliberately use a tone that is um simple. I never use technical terms. I don't want
Mm.
to scare people. I always want to make it feel easy, fun. I always use a tone that's like, you can do this. It's so easy. And it's funny because I did talk about this in my last workshop, and people were saying, but is it easy, or are you just convincing us it's easy just by the tone I'm using? But it is. I want it to feel fun and easy. And I think by me setting that tone from the get-go, from the first sentence,
Hmm.
you can see people relaxing, and it's so fun for me. It's so fulfilling for me because I go into corporate businesses. Like I was working with the government in Dublin a lot last year, and you go into the most corporate places, you've men in suits, and they just turn into like children, and they're having so much fun filming. So I just love to see it.
I had a very similar experience. You're talking about the men and women in suits, just sort of crumbling into different pieces. I attended I facilitated and hosted a laughter class a few weeks
Mm-hmm.
back, and it was the most awkward, weird, out of body experience I've had in a long, long, long time. But after it, I felt so light. I felt so light.
Mm-hmm.
You know that belly laugh that afterwards you feel like you need to lie down
Yes.
because it was so good. Well,
Yes.
that was happening for about 60 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't even that we were laughing, we weren't really laughing at ourselves, we were laughing at others who were laughing at us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was honestly the weirdest thing. I would definitely recommend anybody try it at least once. Laughter
Mm-hmm.
yoga or laughter therapy, it's called. But it's absolutely fantastic. And it sounds like you give your clients and your audience a little bit of that. It's almost an allowance for them to relax. And some people need to be told that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like I'm very present before I do workshops. Like if I'm going to a workshop and I'm tired or I'm, not energized myself, I will make sure that I do not step through their door until I have got myself, to a higher place of energy. And I always make sure I'm being other centered, have to get out
Hmm.
of my own head. I have to be other centered. So that is something that's key when delivering my workshops because it's not about me, it's about them. It's about them learning, them having fun, them and I just project them. It's even when doing talks, that's why I'm never scared because it's not about me. It's about them, you know.
That's it. I believe it or believe it not, that's a technique to overcoming the fear of public speaking. Is that it's much easier when you're picturing somebody else and supporting and helping somebody else than it is doing it yourself.
Yeah, I think it was I can't remember who said it, but somebody said it. I hear quotes and they stick with me, and then I never even know where I've heard them. But somebody said um, that the key to happiness is being other-centered. So that's something that I always keep in mind. Like, if you want to be truly happy, you cannot be thinking of yourself. So that's something that I consciously do before every workshop.
Well, that's brilliant. I mean, I can only imagine being at one of your workshops. I haven't had the pleasure as yet, Niamh, but I will do in the future. Sitting there and seeing you coming in, and I've met you quite a few times, and you're like a box of fireworks. So you're whatever you're doing, you're priming, as it's called in the NLP word, you're priming yourself to become energized and ready because you know it's infectious. As a presenter
Mhm.
myself, I know that whenever I'm in the room, I need to bring the energy, or that's going to be a reflection onto the audience. And knowing your
Mhm.
audience and being other centered, as you've used that term, that is massive. That is huge. Knowing your audience is half the battle.
Yeah,
Half
and
the battle.
also we all get imposter syndrome at different times. I get it a lot, a lot, a lot. And I think it's having to break it down. And what I do is I picture a workshop that I had loads of fun. And I'll think like, how did I feel after that? And I'll think, well, I felt like ecstatic. I felt energized. I felt excited. And I'm like, well, this workshop's going to be like that one. And then like the last workshop I did, I got myself so like, here we go, we got this. And it was because I had filmed an event the night before and obviously I was feeling exhausted. And on the way there, I did the opposite of what you'd expect. Usually I have like energized music playing, but
Mm,
this time I put the car in silent. I had somebody say to me recently that was hosting an event. She said to me, um, give yourself some self-love, and by
mm-hmm.
doing that you can even like just drive somewhere in silence.
Yeah.
And by saying that that's like a type of self-love, I was like, okay, so we'll see how this goes because I always need noise. I always need like something happening. So I drove to the workshop in silence, and it gave my mind time to like, be more present to how I was feeling. And by the time I got there, I was energized, I was excited, I was ready to go. And I actually got like a clap. I don't know, it never happens. Well, it happens sometimes, but like if I get a clap after a workshop, I'm like, yeah, I did it. I don't think you're
I-
supposed to clap after workshops, but like it's a good aim.
Absolutely, absolutely. We always have to have our goals. There's a lot there that you were talking about that I would love to unpack at some other time, but there's lots in what you have just said. You talked about imposter syndrome there, and you're right, we all do feel a little piece of that at some stage. And you also talked about reframing, and what I was getting from what you were saying is I'm an NLP practitioner, a neuro linguistic programming practitioner. And a lot of the techniques and methods that you're using is actually neurolinguistic programming. So it's called reframing, where you reframe a situation to look and sound like something else. You're also doing something called timeline therapy, where you're going back to a previous example of what good was and then transferring that energy into what could be. So you're using lots of little techniques, and I don't know if you actually are realizing you're using those.
Um, I don't know. I feel like I've been doing a lot of things for so long now, I can't really remember where I picked them up, if that makes sense. Like,
Yes.
I did a lot of personal development courses when I was a teenager.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of that stuck with me because I was, maybe only 18 at the time. And a lot of it kind of stuck with what I'm doing now. I feel like I'm very big into um like the law of attraction and using vision boards, and I'm very like that. So
Yeah, yeah. As am I, Niamh, as am I. If you could see my room now, and if the audience could see my room now,
yeah,
they would see my vision board on my left, and they would
yeah.
see all of my books behind me, The Secret.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Like I've
actually
read
at
The
a
Secret and
yeah,
all
and
that
I was at
stuff,
a
but
conference there 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, and one of the co-writers of The Secret was there, Dr. John D.
Mhm.
Martini, giving a speech and a talk, and it was inspiring, absolutely
yeah.
inspiring. I'm a great
I feel
believer in
like
that visualization.
yeah, and visualization. I think for me it is it's essential. It's essential. I have to live this way, or the other option is that I'm just not going to be this person and I don't even know what I'm gonna do with my life. But it's like it's just not an option for me. Like I have to come at everything energized. Um I have to have this mindset. Otherwise
Do
I
you
just
have
be an
to have
imposter.
do you have to have it, or do you get to have it?
I get to have it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get to have it. And also the other thing that I have to get to, the other thing that I do is um my dad asked me this a lot. This is like a lot to do with my parents, really. My mum is a hypnotherapist. My dad is like very entrepreneurial, and a lot of the things they come out with. So like if I am in breakdown and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with this whatever scenario, my dad always says, "Are you attached or are you committed?"
Mm,
And that's something that I have to sit and think, no, I'm actually attached. I'm coming from attachment. Because if I was committed, I wouldn't be making it about me again, you
mm.
know? So that's something that kind of snaps me out of that mindset.
Yeah. And just as you had mentioned there about your mother being a hypnotist, that is where NLP comes from. I also am a hypnotist through the NLP world. So
Mhm.
that you have obviously heard a lot of that language being used in your house.
Yeah, I think like my mum was a health and safety officer, and then she was an English teacher, and like all of this only really came about when I was a teenager.
Mm.
And then my parents were very big into sending all of us to self-development courses, and then like me and my brother and sister just like I feel like overnight we changed our paths, which was such a brilliant time,
Yeah.
to like I lived in Australia for a year. I would never have done that if I didn't do these courses, because I was terrified of flying. I still am terrified of flying.
Mm.
Um and like I'm just back from Copenhagen and I have to breathe on planes like constantly. And it's just something that I know uh, sometimes it's easier than others. You know, it's just something that I know have to work through, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would
You're
never let fear hold me back. No.
good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Maybe this is why you've went down in this sort of entrepreneurial direction.
Hmm.
And for those that don't know, that you only became an entrepreneur after your daughter was born. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. So the last year has been just surreal. It's been something I never would have expected. So yeah, my daughter was born and I came back to work and Purple Dot Media. So it was owned by, it was a division within Dungan Enterprise Centre, and I had worked for them from 2014. And I went to Australia, I came back, and I continued working for them. So I took a year away, and when I came back, there was still video demand, so they took me back again. Um, but it was something that I'd sort of started the division. I had just started making videos, and I'd started doing them for the council and for AIB banking, and it just became a division through the enterprise center. But it was once I had my daughter, I was like, right, I have to figure out a way to make Purple Dot Media mine, essentially,
Mhm.
and started, working towards doing that. Um, and it's been a crazy year.
I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has. But let's take us back before the
Yeah.
your daughter was born and into
Hmm.
those places where you were working.
Hmm.
I'm sure at a stage you've had to go through some interviews.
Yes.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. And like
Yes.
everybody, every other normal person in this world, they've
Hmm.
had interviews that just are have been great or okay, and some
Hmm.
really awful. And we will come to asking you the question of what is your worst interview ever, but we'll save that for somewhere down the line here. But there must have been something within that journey of you being an employee that just made you go, okay, I've had enough of this. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. What,
Hmm.
if you don't mind me asking, what was that?
It was the limitation. I think, again, it's all going back to being other centered. Like when it was
Mm,
about me, I am quite comfortable to live the life I'm living.
mm,
I love my life, I love where I'm at. And as soon as I had Ella, it was suddenly like, okay, but what does she want? Like, what if she wants like more holidays? Or what if she wants a better car? Or what if she wants a bigger house? And it was suddenly like I was making this newborn make decisions for me. And it was like, I want her to have better than this, even though this is something that I love and I love my life. It's like, what if she wants more holidays than I'm comfortable with having, or what if she wants me to spend more time with her? And that's sort of where I'm at the moment. It's like, I'm not working tomorrow,
hmm
and last week, before I went to Denmark for a few days, I took 2 days off to look after her, to spend time with her. So it's all about her now, and to have that flexibility, I had to go self-employed.
Well, thankfully you did because it seems like you've absolutely made the right decision. It's giving you that
Yeah.
flexibility as well as that financial security, as well as the awareness of other
Hmm.
entrepreneurs out there as well, and building up that business. And as a business owner myself, I understand it. It's the behind the scenes that no one ever sees that makes
Hmm.
the business that everybody sees.
Yeah, so the other thing, as you say, behind the scenes, so it was the week, April. Yeah, so the week I went self-employed, my husband had an accident and he fell 16 feet off a ladder and he broke his spine in three places in his pelvis. So that essentially had me working from home. And I think
hmm
when you first go self-employed, you're very much like, well, what if it doesn't work out? Like, you can be the one that can be there for us financially if it doesn't work out. But that was not an option. That was not an
mm
option because suddenly it was no, I am the breadwinner. I have to find the fire in my belly to make this work. There is no other option now.
Hmm.
So he is now back to work. My husband started back. He is now self-employed and he wasn't before, so it's put fire in his belly, I would say. But he started back there last Monday. So
Okay.
it has been like a full roller coaster year, and then we got married in September, so there was like all that. It was just it was it's the things that go on behind the scenes that is character building, I suppose.
Character building. That's one term to use, isn't
Yeah. I
it?
know, because I think a lot of people were like, "Are you okay?" And I was just like, "It's going to be okay. You know, we've got this. We've got this." And
Yeah.
like sitting with my laptop, in the Royal and working from the Royal was something that obviously nobody ever envisions themselves doing it, like the hospital. So yeah, I think that was like a bizarre start to self-employment, but I think it's something obviously I'm never going to forget. And it's something that I will always look back and think, well, if you did that, then of course you can do this. Like
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
never going to have an excuse ever again.
That's it, isn't it? That gives you your baseline of success. Because if you can handle what you've just been through over the last year,
Yeah.
you can handle absolutely anything. And
Yeah.
there will be days when you need to pull on that memory, just to remember. Because there in every business owner's life, there's hard days ahead still to come. But
Hmm.
it's understanding and remembering those points that have passed.
Hmm.
That's where you start to believe in yourself again and start to understand the strength that you have. Because you might be
Yes.
tired. You might be tired, and tiredness sucks the life and energy out of you. Also
Hmm.
sucks your will out of you and sucks the confidence
Hmm.
out of you.
Hmm.
That's why they always claim that rest and sleep and eating right and exercising is so, so important.
Yeah, I think for me, I've noticed that it is the opposite. I think as soon as I notice myself getting too energized, um, it's funny, my husband can always sort of tell if I'm stressed because I'm up to 1 in the morning and I'm buzzing and I'm just adrenaline, and I'm like I actually go as far as I start talking too fast. I start like going and never sitting down and doing all the housework, and it's like that's when I it's like I'm beyond tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's noticing that sometimes I get like um beyond tired. That's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah.
But
Was
when I'm like that,
just touching on a point that you made there about, doing the housework.
mm-hmm,
Do you know where that comes from? That actually comes from having small wins and getting your dopamine hit quick. So if you can see something that was dirty and it's now clean,
mm-hmm.
then you get your dopamine hit. So that's
Hmm.
potentially why you do that. Is because that's an instant
It's like a
gratification and an
therapy,
instant reward.
probably.
No, it is. That's what happens. That's why you do it.
Mm,
If you have a large task that you will take weeks, days, hours to
mm-hmm,
do, a quick,
mm-hmm.
simple way to get yourself out of the procrastination stage is go clean a dish, go clean the floor, go
Yeah,
clean a window, and then you've got your dopamine hit while you're still high on that. Get back in and start that
yeah,
project again.
mm-hmm,
That gets you out of the procrastination stage. Although, if you could see, my house is probably spotless sometimes whenever I have something big coming up because I need
mm-hmm.
more and more little dopamine hits all the time.
Yeah,
And it's that sort of stressed scenario. And when you were saying you talk really fast and your movement, that's your body actually in fight or flight. So when you start
mm-hmm,
to talk really fast, it's because you are panicked. When you're starting to move
mm-hmm,
around really fast, it's because you're in fight or flight. That's what happens. It's that sympathetic nervous system that has just kicked in and
mm-hmm.
has just went, right, okay, what do we need to do? And it sounds
Yeah,
like there's a little bit of that sort of perfectionism or
mm-hmm.
perfectionist in you as well, that you like to do things and do them really right on the day.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Because
that
I
might
know
keep you up a little.
the night before my flight to Denmark, I was running around doing the housework, doing everything, and my husband was like, "You need to calm down." He was like, "You're talking so fast, I don't even know what you're saying." Like, but it was because I was so nervous about the plane the next morning. So yeah, I think that's why I think breathing exercises and yoga is so good for me.
Mm.
Um, it's something that, it's always so hard to get onto the mat. It's so hard mentally to just get down onto the mat. But as soon as I do, it's kind of like, ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
finally get it all out.
It's the start that stops most people from starting.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Once we get past that, it's absolutely fine. You can just keep
yeah.
moving forward and keep doing, and you actually
Mm-hmm.
start to enjoy it. It's the same with me going to the gym at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's getting there is the sometimes the challenge, but when I'm there, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there, and that sets up your day for success ahead. It really,
Yes.
really does. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
But there must have been so many different learnings you've taken from this journey so far. Whether
Yeah.
it be good, whether it be challenging, but there's got to be some learnings there that you want to share with our audience.
And how far back are we going?
Well, not too far, not too far. Let's talk about learnings as an employee or an employer
Okay.
around the interview process.
Yeah, so I would say for me, I do think it is something that I suppose it has evolved. It has changed a lot, over the years. For example, like how you would have presented yourself, say, 15 years ago when I was first looking for a job, I would have landed in um like a blazer, like I'm wearing today, and my mindset is completely different to others, so I have to say, like I feel like I wear blazers and suits because it gives me confidence. How I
Mm,
look gives me confidence.
yep.
But that's not necessarily the same for everyone else. Some
Mm,
people could be more comfortable in you know, just clothes that I would perceive as clothes that I would just wear to Tesco's. Like it's something that, has changed a lot in the last 15 years. So how the person is dressed, I never ever ever judge them on that. And I
mhm.
never think that they need to look a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm very, very in touch with what they're saying and what value are they adding and what value are they talking about. So, especially as a videographer, because like when I'm out filming, I don't wear a suit. Like I have my hair tied back. I could be wearing a hoodie. I have a purple dot hoodie that I wear. So
Yeah.
in the industry I'm in, people can wear whatever they want in job interviews. So it's never, I would say I'm probably the dressier than most videographers.
Mm,
Um, and that is something that I used to tone down. I used to
yeah.
not want to wear dresses and not want to wear suits and deliberately wear hoodies and stuff because I thought I had to look uh, a certain way, toned down, I suppose.
Yeah. And
But
look like everybody else.
yeah, look like everybody else. It actually took a lot of confidence for me to start like wearing suits and dresses and showing my feminine side
Okay.
because it is a male dominated industry that I'm in. So I think there's a lot of female photographers, but not so much. Well, we do call them cameramen, so
Mm.
it is something that at the start, I would say, even 10 years ago, I would have landed down to shoots and they would say, "Is he on his way?" And I'd be like, "Who?" So I
Okay.
think when it comes to job interviews, that's something that I've always been aware of is like I'm not like a solicitor's practice or anything. So
Hmm.
that's not something. But I
But it's
do
that
think,
it's the professionalism, isn't it? It's
yeah, yeah.
you're trying to create your own brand and your own sign of professionalism, but not only that, the
Mhm.
clothes that you wear and what you said really strikes home with me as well. There's certain items of clothing that I wear that give me confidence. Now,
Yeah.
the psychology in that is huge, by the way. The
Hmm.
psychology is huge in that. But just knowing and being aware that you have certain types of clothing that make you feel powerful,
Hmm.
then why would you not wear those clothing?
Yes,
Regardless, why would you
yes.
not?
Yeah, and I think it's better to feel over the top than toned down, like too toned
Yeah.
down. Like I went to an event recently and I wore a purple suit, and that was terrifying for me, but it was something that I had deliberately chosen to do because of my personal brand.
Yeah.
Because I thought, right, I'm going to buy a purple suit. And I bought the purple suit and I looked at it and thought, how am I going to wear that in public? It's so purple. But I thought, no, you're going to do this. You're going to stand out as the person that's wearing the purple suit in the room. And I was the person because who else is going to do that? Um,
Well, Dave, if I can tell you, we've had someone on the podcast before whose color is purple, and
really?
there is such a thing here
Hmm.
in the UK called Purple Tuesdays, and it's all
Right.
to do with accessibility for people
Hmm.
with disabilities.
Right.
Her name is Shelley Cohen. She is the owner of Access Avenue, and if you get a chance, any of our listeners and yourself, listen back over
Hmm.
hers. She talks about her purple and standing out with her
Yeah.
purple, and what a great
Yeah.
opportunity for a picture for both of us, for
Hmm.
two purple
Hmm.
ladies at the same time. Her actual nickname is the Purple Lady.
I should have put on my purple blazer today. I just didn't because do you know what it is? I'm still so scared of wearing color. I don't know what it is. I feel like okay, I can wear a suit, but as soon as I'm wearing color, it's very much like look at me. But that's what I want. I'm just
Yeah,
it takes it's just something I'm have that's one thing I'm getting out of my comfort zone doing, so you're constantly getting out of your comfort zone. It's so funny because I could stand up in front of like 700 people and we're black, but as soon as I'm wearing purple in a room, it's terrifying to me.
well,
I
you're not
don't
the
know.
only one. You're not the only one. That is a
Yeah,
very common fear for lots of people is the
yeah,
standing out, and
standing out.
especially
Hmm.
here in Northern Ireland, believe it or not, we it seems to be the culture that we've been brought up to be like everybody else,
Yeah,
to
I don't
not
want
put
to
our head above the
stand
parapet.
out.
Yeah.
It's like I can talk in an event, but I want to stand out at the event.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to stand out. That's the point. I do want to stand out, and I should have wore it today because I would have stood out more.
Yeah.
But I suppose going back to the interview, so I would say I'm looking for people that can add extra, that wee bit of an extra flair, like the wee bit of an extra skill. So, like, obviously, you have your criteria,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm always looking out for that one person that says something that is just that wee bit extra, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
And is that how you would make that sort of decision if you had between two very similar candidates
yeah,
who have the
yeah.
same experience, skill set,
Hmm.
certifications, whatever? You would be looking for something in particular. Is there, well, what would that something be?
So for me, it's down to creativity. And I think that when it comes to industries like this, like even when it comes to marketing, photography, videography, graphic design, it's all creative industries.
Mm,
So you're looking for something that's that wee bit more creative for me anyway. Um, and confidence in that, like I think there's a lot of people that I have worked with in the past that are extremely creative and, way more creative than I've ever been, but they don't have confidence in themselves. They don't say it
mm,
with confidence. They kind of say, "Oh, I do this, but it's not that," and they don't want to boast. And I think that's a cultural thing as well. Don't boast.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That is something that I learned when I moved to Australia for a year. I was handing out my CV and a woman said to me, sell yourself to me, like on the spot.
mm-hmm.
And I was so taken back because we don't boast here. You don't boast. And she was like, what's good about you? Like, boast to me. And she properly, like, she said, I'm doing you a favor, but I don't think she realized that she was really doing me a favor. Like, that was going to stick with me for like 10 years. Like, she was like, I'm not hiring you, but you've just come into my clothes shop and you've just handed my CV. So I don't actually need anyone right now, but I'm going to teach you something. You're gonna stand here and you're gonna boast to me basically for 10 minutes. And she was so intimidating that I was like, okay, like,
But in hindsight, what a learning experience you had.
yeah, it
Because
really was because I think about that a lot.
Because you wouldn't have went out of your way to get that experience. You wouldn't have paid for that, and
No.
that person give that to you for free. That this
Mhm.
is the difference, isn't it, with people who actually want you to succeed and not because
Mhm.
you remember that person. That person made you feel
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
she was terrifying.
Yeah, she was, but at the time, very much so. However, if you go back now, you could probably sell yourself quite easily to her.
Oh, yeah, I'm prepared for her. I've been preparing for her for the last 10 years.
You prepared for the rematch?
Yeah, because it made me realize that anybody at any stage can say that. You have to be prepared, you
Yeah.
know. And I've been in situations like that since. Like I've actually been in cafes quite recently where a man that appeared to just be a man getting a coffee turned around to me and was like, "Oh, it's cold outside today." And I was like, "Yeah, it is cold." And then he was just, "And what are you at today?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just out filming a video and just having chit chat." But he turned around, and I'll not say the company, but he was like, "Oh yeah, I own whatever the company is, like this huge multi-million pound company." I was like, "Oh, right, can't believe I bumped into you here." And yeah, and I didn't have a business card on me, and he asked for a business card, and I was like, "Oh, I literally just went in to get coffee. I didn't think this was going to be like as you said, like an interview.
Hmm.
So it can happen anywhere at any time.
Yeah,
You have to be,
we're always selling, Niamh, and
yeah.
I'm a great believer. And if any of you have ever met me before, you'll know I always keep my business cards in my left pocket. Always. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter if I'm running to the shop. It doesn't matter if I'm taking the kids to the football. It doesn't matter if I'm on my holidays. I will always have my business cards in my left pocket for the simple reason as what you just said. I was
Hmm.
faced with that situation before, didn't have the card, and that
Hmm.
felt completely unprofessional in my opinion.
I know. And I said to him, "Oh, they're in the car," because they were in the car.
Hmm.
But then I couldn't just run out to the car. So yeah, yeah. But it is. And that was only maybe a couple of months ago. So I think I'd went so long without my business cards, but you can guarantee ever since I have had them close.
I'm sure you have. And it
You
sounds like
know.
you're one of these people who have to learn the lesson, unfortunately.
Yeah, I
But at
do.
least you learn it.
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah.
I kicked myself for a very long time. I beat myself up and I tell the story multiple times until it becomes easier to process.
Well, what about if you came at it from a different viewpoint and a different thought process that every question and every opportunity is to be seen as curious.
Hmm.
So that person asking you for your card, they taught you a very valuable lesson.
Yeah, I'm
They have
grateful.
it with you. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am grateful for everything that ever happens. I really do believe that everything happens for a reason. I'm very, very fortunate that I haven't been in a situation where I haven't seen value or been grateful,
Yeah.
up until this point in my life. And like I'm touching wood, I'm like,
Oh
but
no, no, that's
I'm grateful that I'm just grateful for everything that ever
yeah.
happens.
Well, I think that might be that personal development courses you were put on when you were youngsters. It helps you with your gratitude every day, which is really good. But even when you go back to that girl in Australia and you weren't expecting that interview and she just hit you with that interview and hit you with that
Yeah.
question about selling
Yeah.
yourself to her. Could you imagine being her, okay, for
Mm-hmm.
that moment and
Mm-hmm.
looking at you doing that?
Yeah.
And the fear and the panic probably was
Mm-hmm.
quite a visual on your face and body.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
Yeah.
were eyes wide, standing
It's
back slightly, defensive, probably all of these
mm-hmm.
things. But there must be yourself now that you're hiring people, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There must be something that really just doesn't do it for you when you're looking at people
Mm-hmm.
or when you're listening to them or when you have that sort of feeling. Give us your top three sort of red flags with regards to people in interviews.
So my top three. So I would say my top one um is I mean is the person that, now you don't really get it very often, but there's the odd time it happens. It's the person that talks so much that you can't find a break to even ask them the next question. And I'm not talking like I talk a lot. I talk a lot. It's like me multiplied by 20, you know? So it's like you can't physically find the break
Mm.
in their talking. And it must come from a place of nerves. And I do always feel very sympathetic for them. And I do feel very bad for them. But I think that is distracting. If I'm feeling bad for them and I'm feeling like you're so nervous that you're talking to the point that I don't even have an input, that takes away from, I'm now thinking about feeling bad for them. I'm not thinking about what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm not even listening to what they're saying anymore because I'm just feeling bad for them.
Yeah.
So I think that's happened a few times, and it is obviously word vomit, and it's just going and going and going and going and going. And I get it. You can sell yourself, but now I don't even know what we're talking about. It's
Yeah.
beyond, you know. So you need to have your key points that you want to cover and stay with them, and don't be talking about why the last place got rid of you and then start to try and justify it and get into a swirl that you didn't need to go into, you know.
Yeah.
I think you need to be clear about what you want to say,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Absolutely.
And
I
that's
think
it.
you're right. I think you're right. You need to be clear and concise and timely, because you
Mm-hmm.
have to keep that or take that into consideration. Is the interview doesn't take all day, and we've got a very short period and window to
Yeah.
do that, and you have
Yeah.
to allow someone to talk a little, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What's your
I
what's your
think
second one?
my second one is, I once had a woman say to me, um, oh, I don't know. So I had said, are you good at, I can't remember what it was. Are you good at something? Are you good at, are you a people person? Something like that.
Mm.
And her response was, um, yeah, but I'll tell you what I'm not good at.
Oh.
And she said, I'm not good at the phone. I'm not good at answering the phone. And I thought to myself, I cannot believe you're telling me what you're not good at. We're in a job interview and you're telling me what I didn't even ask, what are you not good at? You're just openly telling me what you're not good at. So, like, never tell them what you're not good at if they haven't asked. It's just, why would you even go there? You know, I have had that before. I've had people just openly tell me what they're not good at.
Mm. I can see why that
Um,
would be very off-putting.
yeah, you want to focus on the positives. You don't want to be having them even think about what you're not good at.
Yeah.
You know, you want to
Unless,
be
of
directing
course,
them away from that.
yeah, yeah. Unless, of course,
Um,
you've asked them.
yeah, and even if they ask, I'm like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. Like, oh, it's so annoying being just perfect at everything. Like, I'll never.
I actually, believe it or not, even in the role that I do, I see perfectionists as, if it's in a job interview situation, as not a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
because I know what perfectionism means. I know what that looks like. I know
Yeah.
what
Well,
that
you
means in a
you want to
negative way.
say you want to say what you're bad at, but end it on a high. Like, I would always say, I am a perfectionist, although luckily I have been able to work on that. And now I do meet deadlines and I do know when a project is finished.
Yeah,
You know, and you go back to your experience and how you are able to overcome what you're not good at, you
yeah,
know.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, and what's your top one? Your red flag.
So for me, it would be, well, I would say in general, too personable. I know it is, when it comes to mothers, so I can go and ramble about my daughter all the time. And I do find that sometimes I'll be talking to people and I'll be chatting away about my daughter. And I think that sometimes in the middle of a job interview, you can get off topic and start talking about your or your personal life. And I think that, well, that's well and good for building rapport. You want to know when is the part to build rapport and when is the part to talk about your career and talk about your job.
Yeah,
So I think the building rapport can happen maybe at the end of the interview. Maybe when the whole thing is done, you can shake their hand and say, I'm going to lift my daughter from school or something like that. Just that's maybe when like mum on mum, we're now talking about kids or building that rapport. But there is a time and place for that. And I think in the middle of job interviews, is not that,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I think you've touched on something that happens quite often, is that's almost a comfort zone to
Mm-hmm.
people, is talking about what they know very well, which of course will be their children they know very well. And they're trying to make that connection with another person who they seem similar to them.
Mm-hmm.
What I have found in the past as well is that I have seen that, just like you, go against the person heavily, and not for the reasons that you believe. I have sat in so many panels that you get to hear things in the background, and there's one of the stories I have heard, and one of the stories I was involved in, is that many, many, many years ago, when hiring someone, a young mother who had just said, sorry, not a young mother, a young woman who had just been married, and the person, the chair of the interview panel said, not during the interview but afterwards, she's not getting the job because she'll end up becoming a mother very quickly. And I thought that was an absolutely disgusting comment to make, because she was the right person for the job regardless
Mm-hmm.
of their thoughts or their opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I think that still goes on in the background and subconsciously now. There are
Yeah,
so many
yeah.
fantastic women out there, mothers, who are brilliant at the job, are so experienced, so skilled,
Mm-hmm.
and people cannot see past that.
Yeah, and also it is adding to the fire in my belly. Like I work harder now than I did before I had my daughter because I'm not working for me, I'm working for her. And
Yeah.
I work at a different level for her than for myself. Um and yeah, like it did happen my mum, but they outright did say it to her in the interview, no, we're not hiring you because you've just recently got married
Wow.
and you'll be having a baby soon.
Wow.
And it's just, I don't even know what I would have said if I got told that to my.
For more details about our guest, or if you would like to be a guest, go to www.interviewskillscoach.co.uk/my-worst-interview-ever, or find us on Facebook or LinkedIn. And remember, on the other side of a successful interview is the life you deserve.